Central Conference Athletics, featuring the University of Northern Colorado Bears.
Officially, the Division II football playoffs don't begin for another 2 weeks, but unofficially, this is a playoff game today at Greeley's Nottingham Field as the North Dakota State Bison take on the University of Northern Colorado Bears. Greetings from Northern Colorado, an absolutely gorgeous day today. Dan Winkler along with Jim Porth and Dana Mock from WDAY Television in Fargo. Big game today, fellas, as UNC takes on NDSU. Both teams at 8-1, 6-1 in the conference, tied for first place. But one of these teams probably not going to make the playoffs. And Dana, the Bison seem to have a lot of momentum coming into this game.
Yeah, 5 weeks ago they lost to their arch rival UND in Grand Forks, but since then they've won 4 straight games. They feel like they have some momentum coming in, and they're getting it done with defense. NDSU's defense has not given up more than 14 points in conference play this year.
Meanwhile, Jim, UNC not playing especially well consistently this season, up and down, but last week against St. Cloud, maybe their best game on defense.
Well, this UNC team has been winning on what coaches and players are calling their B game. Well, they're not going to be able to do that today against North Dakota State. They will have to find their A game, and this is about as late in the season as you want to find your A game, and against St. Cloud, things came together.
North Dakota State, the only team to ever beat UNC here at Nottingham. Dana, what are the Bison going to have to do today to repeat that success from 2 years ago?
Well, the keys from Coach Babbage hardly ever change. I don't care who they're playing. Control turnovers. You turn the ball over, you're going to lose the football game, according to Coach Babbage. Control the ball. It's a fancy way of saying keep the ball away from quarterback Court McGuffey of Northern Colorado. And stop the run. They want to make Northern Colorado a one-dimensional team today.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things for UNC, Jim, the Bears are going to have to do what? Defensively, they face a challenge in Lamar Gordon, one of the big-time running backs here in the North Central Conference. They will have to go ahead and play very well. Now, Bob Babbage, the NDSU head coach, talks about what his team needs to do to be successful today.
Offensively, the number one thing that we talk about every week is that we cannot turn the ball over. Last season, we turned the ball over 4 times against UNC, and it hurt us big time. The next thing we need to do is defensively, we need to stop the run, and we need to get some takeaways. Those 2 things are very important on the defensive side of the ball. And then the special teams, they've got to be a winning edge for us, either by good field position, by, you know, punting the ball good, or tackling them on kickoff returns, or good returns. And those are the 3 things that we talk about every week that we need to take care of.
Bison head coach Bob Babbage in his 3rd year at the helm of the program. Jim Porth, for the UNC Bears, what are their keys to the game to stop NDSU?
Well, their keys to the game are definitely defense, and against St. Cloud last week, they felt that the defense really came together. They have another 1,000-yard rusher coming into Nottingham Field in Lamar Gordon, and they need to step it up for him. But then some more things, some intangibles. They need to make a statement. They have been playing maybe their B game. If they want to make it into the playoffs and then win in the playoffs, they need to make a statement right here against the Bison and senior leadership. They have a lot of guys on this team that have been in huge games, and they need to bring that into fruition against this Bison team.
Meanwhile, UNC head coach Joe Glenn says it's pretty simple. The trenches are the key to this game for his team.
One of the huge keys is controlling the line of scrimmage. We really feel like we've got to run the football at least effectively. That doesn't mean we have to run it 60 times, but we have to. I think if we average 4 yards a carry, it's a real key to us winning the game, because then we can dictate a little bit when we run and when we throw, and we've got to slow down. We won't stop Lamar Gordon, but we've got to keep him under wraps and not let him career on us. And then I think what's always critical, again, will be the turnover category. If either team gets a short field, they're going to score, either with the kicking game or taking it in for 6. And so I think turnovers become very, very critical.
Absolutely beautiful today in Northern Colorado. Temperatures expected to reach about 72 degrees today, not what you would expect for early November. There you see the numbers. 25th meeting between the two teams. Bison on top 20-4, but if you break that down in the last 5 years, the Bears actually have the advantage.
Yeah, Joe Glenn has made tremendous strides with this football program. Years ago they were okay, but they weren't that upper echelon team. Joe Glenn and staff really has brought them to be one of the better teams, not just in the North Central Conference, but in the nation, as you can see by the 96 and 97 national championship trophies sitting in the trophy case.
Bob Babbage, third year as the head coach, taking over from Rocky Hager. Babbage, a longtime Division I assistant coach, and has gotten this NDSU program back on track. A lot of momentum for the Bison this season. Mike Schauer, the senior from Canyon City, Colorado, will kick things off. Bears will go from the south end. So the Bison will go from north to south. Schauer pooches the kick, trying to keep it away from the dangerous Tim Strelo. Caught by an up man. That's Eric Nelson. And he is hit immediately out across the 20-yard line. North Dakota State on offense, a new quarterback this year, and Lamar Gordon getting a chance to shine offensively as well for the Bison. There's a look at Eric Nelson. Up front, Pete Campion expected to start. He's been fighting mono. Trent Howman, a 4-year starter, back from injury after missing 6 games this year. Johnson, very effective at quarterback, high in pass efficiency, but it's Lamar Gordon, the 1,000-yard rusher, only a sophomore. Strelo is the all-time career touchdown receiver for North Dakota State. And on first down, Johnson's going to pass, zips it out to his tight end, incomplete. The intended receiver was Jared Peck, number 84, sophomore out of Bloomington. UNC defensively, Markley and Pallone up front are going to be key to controlling the running game. The linebackers are excellent. Zimmerman, first team all-conference a year ago. In the backfield, the Bears have made a change. Martin Jones, a former cornerback, has been moved out to the safety position, and he's listed as a corner here, but he does play safety as the Bears have tried to shore up a leaky defense. Second down and 10 after the incompletion. Johnson with the backs in the eye split behind him, a long count. And it's a give to Lamar Gordon, who struggles to get out across the 25-yard line.
The dangerous thing about Lamar Gordon is that he can strike from almost anywhere on the football field. He's had some tremendous runs this year, and you can see what he's done. 100 yards or more in 8 of the last 9 games, and he's on pace to break the school scoring record with 19 touchdowns. The record is held by Jeff Bentram, guy who can walk on water in Fargo, North Dakota. He had 23 one season.
Yeah, you hear that name, Jeff Bentram, and it conjures up images of the awesome Bison machine of the late 1980s. Only 4 on that play, third down and 6. Sellout crowd at Nottingham, getting into it a little bit here. Another long count by Johnson. Floats it out, caught by his receiver on the catch. That's Shane Detman, the sophomore out of Bismarck, and it looks like he's got first down yardage.
So important for this UNC defense to come up and play hard right away, and that time pretty good coverage from Morlock, but a great throw from this freshman quarterback who's just been actually playing like a veteran this year.
Ryan Johnson is the biggest surprise on this Bison football team. To replace Kevin Feeney, they thought that they had just some huge shoes to fill, which they did. But Ryan Johnson stepped in game number 1 against Ferris State, and all he did was complete 13 of 14 passes.
And now he's gone 89 straight passes without throwing an interception. That is a North Dakota State record. Completion out to the 34, first down and 10, North Dakota State just underway. Gordon, the lone setback. Another long count by Johnson. Play clock down to 2 when he gets it off. Swings it out, Detman again. Shakes one tackle, but Nolan Easton, the senior cornerback, is there to wrap him up, pushing him out of bounds, but a gain of about 4 or 5 on that play.
The Bison came into the season with 2 veteran receivers in Strelo and Nelson. All of a sudden, Shane Detman has come out of nowhere, and right now, numbers-wise, reception-wise, he's the number 1 receiver for the Bison offense.
Yeah, he had 27 coming into the game, 29 now with his 2. But if you look at the stats, Dana, the big hitters are certainly Strelo and Nelson. They average more than 20 yards per reception, and the Bears defense certainly cautious of that and also bottling up Lamar Gordon. Second down and 7 after the gain of 3. And now Johnson opts it a little bit, and Lamar Gordon has some room. Jeff Miller is there to meet him, but not until Gordon gets good yardage. Another first down to the UNC 44-yard line.
And UNC or NDSU using some underneath routes to kind of spread things out, and then they leave it open for Lamar Gordon on the option play to get around. And that's what NDSU does so well, is mixing it up. They're so good at doing both running and passing, and that's a good combination.
Shades of the old North Dakota State when they used to run the option, and a great kick-out block by Jeremy Lure that time. Bob Babbage feels that Lure is one of the better blocking fullbacks in the North Central Conference. You probably have two of the best fullbacks in the conference playing here today. Mark Ciccarelli for the Golden Bears, too.
Absolutely. Big gain for Gordon, who actually 8 of 9 games this year he's run for 100 yards, 12 out of his last 13. And the game that he didn't get it, he had 92, I think.
92 against the University of North Dakota this year. Yeah, you go back to last year, he ended the year with 4 straight 100-yard games.
1st and 10, North Dakota State at the UNC 44-yard line. First drive of the ball game. Johnson this time a straight handoff to Gordon, and he's met right away. It looks like Jamie Heiner, the linebacker, was in there first, the senior number 80 out of Fort Collins, Colorado.
And this defense runs by those linebackers. They are in charge, and they set the tempo for the rest of the defense. And Jamie Heiner, their leading tackler. Jeff Miller coming in and filling up for a loss in senior linebacker Brian Scott last year and doing a good job.
Well, you see a Smith wearing number 90, and you get kind of scared if you're a Bison fan.
Different one. This is George Smith, who is a junior. Of course, the Smith we're talking about is Aaron Smith, who's now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a loss of 1 on that play. 2nd down and 11. And Johnson with a play fake. Has time, steps up, throws to his receiver who's wide open. That's Tim Stralo's first catch, and it's good for a first down inside the 30-yard line. Stralo, a senior from Wisconsin who came to North Dakota State despite the fact that it was a ball-running team, has blossomed as a receiver in the last 3 years.
Well, it didn't complain about the change in offense either. You know, you get 1 or 2 passes a year when they ran the old split back veer. Bob Babbage has opened it up a little bit more. Still doesn't get, 13 catches a game, but when he does catch the ball, it's normally for big yards. He averages more than 20 yards a reception.
And that was Stralo's 25th catch on the season. 8 touchdowns among those 25 catches. He had 2 touchdown catches 2 years ago here at Nottingham Field. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. So that was a pickup of 17. Johnson, another play fake, has time, throws it out to his target. That's Peck, the tight end, and he's rolling again inside the 15-yard line. And it's another Bison first down. North Dakota State making it look easy on this first possession.
They're really offensively doing what they had hoped to do, and that's control the ball. Keep Court McGuffey on the sidelines. And here you see the Bears came with a blitz. The Bison were able to pick it up, and they have so many different weapons now this year. The tight ends, the wide receivers, the running backs. They even throw to the backside of the backfield. They'll give some defensive coordinators headaches.
And some head coaches. We just saw Joe Glenn there, who's looking a little worried himself. 1st and 10 now from the 12-yard line. NDSU on the move. On the counter, it's Gordon at the 10. Actually doesn't even quite get there as he's shoved out. Martin Jones stepping up from the safety position that time to make the tackle.
And that's one thing that happens with this UNC defense as well, as the safeties play a big role. Sometimes Morlock and Martin Jones will actually look and play a lot like linebackers, as the linebackers will try and stop the run in the middle.
I thought Jones was one of the real differences in the ball game last year in the Fargo Dome. He just came up huge sometimes, and that was from his cornerback position. In fact, he played so well that Bob Babbage, when it came to naming the all-conference team, voted Jones the most valuable defensive back in the league. He thinks very highly of Martin Jones, thinks he's one of the best in the country.
Jones was a second-team all-conference pick last year. Now on 2nd down, nowhere to go for Ryan Johnson, and it's Shad Morlock, the junior safety out of Adams City High School in Denver, who comes up and makes that stop.
We talk about that linebacker mentality, and you will see Morlock come up in blitzes quite a bit. Had a touchdown defensively last year against North Dakota State at the Fargo Dome.
Almost knocked the ball loose. Ryan Johnson had some indecision, didn't know if he was going to turn it up or pitch to Gordon, and I think Morlock got a piece of the ball, and Johnson bobbled it momentarily, but was able to get it back.
So after North Dakota State had cruised relatively easily down to UNC's 12, 2 plays have lost 3 yards, and it's now 3rd down and 13 from the 15-yard line. Johnson to pass. Timing pattern towards Nelson. A little contact, but nothing called, and it goes incomplete. Nolan Easton on the coverage, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And even though the play doesn't work for the Bison on this one, unbelievable time for Johnson, and I don't know if this ball would have even been catchable in the field of play.
Bears haven't had a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterbacks this season. So on 4th down, it's Aaron Peterson, the sophomore out of Sioux Falls, 10 of 13 on the year, with a long of 47. This one is a makeable 32-yarder. Johnson the holder, and now a flag goes down, and it looks like one of the Bison might have moved as the Bears were flinching on that defensive line of scrimmage.
Smart play by the Bears. They'll back the Bison up 5 yards, make it even longer. And this has been a real sore spot for North Dakota State this year.
Penalties.
They have been penalized. Last week, I think they had 13 penalties for 133 yards. And Babbage knows that sooner or later, it's going to come up and bite them. And you would think, in a game of this magnitude, this might be the game that would do it.
So this becomes now a 37-yarder. Bears again flinching. Good snap. Peterson gets the right foot into it, and it is no good. So Northern Colorado holds on the first drive of the game. The Bison had it 1st and 10 from UNC's 12, and it's only the 4th miss of the season for Aaron Peterson as the 37-yarder went wide.
That's the bend but don't break defense, isn't it? And you don't know how big that 5-yard penalty really was. Aaron Peterson has been so rock solid this year, but that time it appeared he just pushed it off to the right.
Yeah, kicking game is something that hasn't always been one of North Dakota State's strengths, certainly.
They used to have the philosophy of on 4th down, even from their own 20 to 25-yard line, if it was 4th and 1 or 2, they felt that they could get it.
Bears on offense. There's a look at Harlan Hill candidate Court McGuffey, the senior from Riverton, Wyoming. It is Wes Daniels, the running back behind McGuffey, and Wes finds a seam up the middle and gets a 1st down out across the 35-yard line, 17 yards on the pickup, and the Bears certainly fired up. Daniels missing last week's game with an injury.
And the Bears try so hard to balance their offensive attack, and as Dana said earlier, it's going to be key for the Bison to stop the run game. Offensive line doing a good job at getting a hole for the running back.
3 freshmen on the offensive line for UNC. And, of course, the key man in the backfield is Court McGuffey. 27 touchdown passes on the year. On 1st down, that's Mark Ciccarelli, the senior out of Raton, New Mexico, and not much there. A very good North Dakota State defense is what the Bears are up again. This team has been holding NCC opponents and shutting them down. Ronnie Steffen, maybe the best defensive lineman on that team. First team all-conference pick a week ago. Leif Murphy, a big play linebacker. He's only a redshirt freshman. And in the secondary, Luke Schaefer is a good one, and Aaron Skyberg back after injury. Only one on that last play, 2nd down and 9 for the Bears. That's Brian Lonergan, the senior tight end in motion. McGuffey with a straight drop, throws it out. Daniels makes a good catch, but he gets drilled right away. Excellent read by Skyberg, the senior.
Has played his best football since coming back from that knee injury. His first game back was last week against Minnesota State Mankato, and Coach Babbage said he actually made plays in that game that he wasn't making before his injury against the University of North Dakota. This is a nice little rifle by McGuffey and a great catch out of the backfield. That's a difficult catch, and that probably allowed Skyberg to put the crosshairs on him and come up and lace him one.
Daniel saved McGuffey for an incompletion, and that's the thanks he gets. A drilling by Aaron Skyberg, who 2 years ago was playing cornerback in this game.
Yeah, they moved some people around in that secondary. Luke Schaefer went from strong to free, and Skyberg went from corner to strong.
3rd down and 8. That was a pickup of 1. McGuffey out of the shotgun. 4-man rush. Court's got some time. Throws it in traffic. What a catch! Omar Zuniga.
This receiving core of the UNC Bears is so deep and talented, and Omar Zuniga pulls one down. McGuffey was being harassed in the backfield and actually had to change his throwing motion to kind of go over the top and threw it high to Omar. And Omar, who's got an unbelievable vertical jump and a good basketball player in itself, and gets a great catch.
He's famous for that, isn't he? Big games, he makes big catches. Did it in the playoffs a year ago, and That's 2 passes saved by Court McGuffey's receivers that could have been incompletions.
1st and 10 UNC at the 49-yard line of North Dakota State. Now here's Kevin Prosser. His first carry of the game, evades some tacklers and makes a big run inside the 35-yard line. Prosser out of Aurora Gateway High School, a transfer from junior college, has been seeing more action lately. He's the only UNC back with a 100-yard game this year.
You know, late in the season, this guy has come out of nowhere to be a spark plug in the running back position, and he has so much speed and so much strength. As you see, the one arm, he just sheds the tackler and turns the corner and gets into that extra gear.
And we saw a good running back in the Fargo Dome last year. Was Joe Wyeth, left the team for personal reasons, and I think he was considered to be the man who was going to take over this year, but now they've really kind of filled in with a couple of different players, more running back by committee than just one person.
34-yard line, the line of scrimmage. Daniels goes in motion. Short drop for McGuffey, and that one is high and wide for the intended receiver. That's George Carroll, a freshman out of Pueblo, Colorado.
Definitely a big difference between NDSU and UNC when you look at the running back position. Lamar Gordon has established himself as one of the best running backs in the conference. And as you said, Dana, UNC's running back by committee, but slowly getting things done and being able to balance things out at least enough so that the Bears can throw when they need to.
The Bison will play Deshaun Perkins, but it's only to spell Lamar Gordon so he doesn't get worn out during a football game. Deshaun Perkins may get 2 series in a football game.
2nd and 10. Grable goes in motion behind McGuffey. And the draw up the middle to Daniels had some room early, but then that hole got shut down pretty quickly. A lot of North Dakota State players there, including Chris Bays, a sophomore nose guard. That'll bring up a 3rd down and long. Bears are in Mike Shower field goal range, although it would be a long one.
He's famous for that against North Dakota State. I swear, every time the Bison play here, or even in the Fargo Dome, Shower always kicks a 50-plus yard field goal against North Dakota State. There he is, wearing number 1. He's a great one. You got 2 of the best kickers in the country here today.
Absolutely. Both were 2nd team all-conference last year. 3rd down and long. Here comes the blitz. Ciccarelli with a great block, but McGuffey stumbles and is marked down back at the 41-yard line. Ciccarelli picked up 2 guys on the blitz, gave McGuffey the time, but he just couldn't get out of his own feet.
Yeah, when we talk about the pocket breaking down on court, it's not just the offensive lineman, but that time fullback Mark Ciccarelli takes 2 guys on and gives room for McGuffey, who then slips and falls.
It's a guy who plays with a lot of heart, and Mark Ciccarelli. Amazing story. Before the season, had an 8-hour heart operation and missed all of 2 games. That's incredible.
Yeah, he's been a key guy for this UNC team the last 4 years. That takes UNC out of field goal range, and Shower is on to punt. Although the Bears have been known to fake from time to time. No fake here, though. Shower's just going to try to angle toward the sidelines. He does, but I don't know where this one's going to be marked out of bounds, as the official keeps walking, and he'll wait until he gets told to stop. And he marks it out at the 22-yard line. So first quarter, we've got a scoreless game. North Dakota State and UNC tied at 0. Has had 1 possession. Neither one has scored. The Bison have missed a field goal try, and the Bears had to punt it away. And we're scoreless. 7:03 left to go first quarter from a sold-out Nottingham Field in Greeley. The winner of this game probably going to go to the playoffs. The loser will probably finish their season next week. Luer and Gordon behind Johnson. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Bears creeping up and showing blitz. Here comes Jamie Heiner. And Johnson escapes from trouble as a flag goes down. Johnson shoots across the 30-yard line, but the flag is down in the North Dakota State backfield.
More than likely, a hold against North Dakota State. They've seen plenty of those flags this year.
Dana, Ryan Johnson, not probably known for the running skills that a guy like Kevin Feeney was, but showed some pretty good athleticism that time.
Clipping against North Dakota State is a call. No, actually Ryan Johnson was recruited when Rocky Hager was the coach here, and was actually the backup as a true freshman, so he has option ability, but nobody really had the sneakiness that Kevin Feeney did, and he has. The biggest change in Ryan Johnson this year is not anything athletic. It's from the shoulders up. Just how he controls the huddle, how he leads this football team. His demeanor on the football field has been the most impressive thing for Coach Babbage and his staff.
It seems like he would be maybe number 1 on the list of pleasant surprises for North Dakota State.
Oh, yeah, and it's quite a gap between number 1 and number 2, the way Ryan Johnson has played this year.
quarterback efficiency rating of 167. I'm not going to pretend that I know what that means, but needless to say, it's very good.
It's good. Leave it at that.
First and 21 now as the penalty backs North Dakota State to the 11-yard line. And they'll keep it simple, go with Lure on the handoff. Malone hits him at first, and then Lure struggles out to the 14, about 3 yards on the play.
Fullbacks don't get a lot of carries in this Bison offense. Lure has 12 on the year. Grant Gilbertson 14 coming into the football game. But they do this just to kind of keep a defense honest.
And I'll correct myself. That was Grant Gilbertson on the carry. Senior from Bismarck, only his 15th rush on the season.
Still is looking for his first career touchdown at North Dakota State. Everyone thought he had one earlier this year. There was a wide open gap on about a 10-yard carry, and he kind of tripped and fell over the 5-yard line.
2nd and 17 officially, a gain of 4 on the play. And a play fake. Johnson back to pass. Tosses it out there, incomplete. Timing pattern, it was going out, intended for Detman, it looks like, and it was kind of a jump ball between Detman and the safety, Shad Morlock.
Johnson's getting some pretty good time here, and Detman was open between the zone. He found a little soft spot, but it was just overthrown. You can see the gap between Colorado defenders there, but Johnson missed the open receiver.
Yeah, they kind of overloaded that side with 2 receivers on one side, and Nolan Easton had to pick which one he wanted, and he took the guy that was a little further down the field, and then Johnson just couldn't get it in there.
I wouldn't be surprised if Detman has a pretty good day today. I'm sure the UNC defenders remember Tim Strelow's 2 touchdowns 2 years ago. Eric Nelson also caught one. 3rd down and 17 now. Zimmerman showing blitz. But they back off. Bears rushing 4. Johnson pressured, throws it up. Wobbler that's going to go out of bounds, incomplete. Dominic Pallone, the junior out of Broomfield High School, was the one putting the pressure on. Strelo, the intended target.
And Dominic loves to play without his helmet. This is the second game in a row that we've seen him get involved with plays without his helmet, and he thrives on that. Good pressure by Dominic.
That's kind of dangerous. You really should leave your helmet on when you're playing a North Central Conference football game.
There's a look at the sun-drenched crowd. That's the west side of Nottingham Field, a relatively new facility, the 5th year of its existence, and really hailed as one of the big kind of gems for this UNC program. Aaron Peterson, the sophomore, into kick. He's averaging 43 yards a kick. Relatively low snap. Peterson gets it off. This is a little wobbler that doesn't turn over. Keith Grable catches it his side of the 50 and then gets tripped up just past the 50. Ball popped loose, but Grable's back on top of it as the stop was made there by Justin Beam. Scoreless in the first quarter, UNC and NDSU.
A good book is like food for the soul. The Book Stop is an independent bookstore for independent minds where you'll find unusual authors, bestsellers, and more. At the Book Stop, you'll feel the appreciation of good literature and will gladly help with book searches. While you're here, the
UNC begins its second drive in excellent field position inside North Dakota State territory just across the 50-yard line. 5:26 left to go in a scoreless opening quarter. Bears had to punt on their first possession after driving relatively deep into NDSU territory. McGuffey to throw for it on first down. He wants to go long. Has a target out there. That's Eric Nelson, the freshman, and it's incomplete. And now a late flag comes in right at the spot of the coverage.
Looks like the official had to think about it for a while. I think he's making the right call. Jay Hatley never turned around and put his hands up in the air. To avoid a pass interference penalty, you have to turn around and look.
And that's the call. And so the penalty will move up the ball a little bit more for UNC.
We've seen Court trip over his own feet, and then here after the play action, maybe kind of short arm this throw and having Nelson come back at it. Luckily for the Bears, the penalty helps them out.
I like the thinking here of offensive coordinator Kay Dalton. Kind of a momentum shift here. The defense holding North Dakota State. The Bears start with great field position. Go for the home run ball on that first play.
And the thing that really helped that time was the pass was actually underthrown, and Nelson was looking at it the whole way, and Hatley was not. So the penalty of 15 yards moves it up to the 33. 1st and 10, Northern Colorado. Daniels on the carry, breaks one man, but then gets run out of bounds after a gain of about 3 on the play. And in on the stop for NDSU, Luke Schaefer, the free safety out of Bismarck.
And the young offensive line doing a good job at pulling and doing some things off on the line, which they say is harder to do than actually pass block because this run offense is so complicated that K. Dalton runs.
But Daniels did a nice job of reading his blockers up front that time, and Ron Scott, backup fullback to Ciccarelli, made a nice block, and Daniels was able to cut inside of that and pick up some good yards.
Bears coaches really like Ron Scott, who just went out of the backfield in motion. 2nd down and 7. Early pitch by McGuffey. Daniels in some trouble, and he is dropped for a loss. And in there for North Dakota State, Jared Maher, the inside linebacker, leading tackler on this team with 48 stops coming into this game.
You think of Court McGuffey, you normally just think of a pure passer, but he runs some option. He does that. I mean, you have to do that to keep teams honest. When you run and show some option, teams are less likely to blitz. And he's a good athlete. Good athlete, great kid. Holy smokes. And you find a nicer young man to be a Harlan Hill candidate and more than likely finalist this year and more than likely the winner. I mean, I can't imagine anyone else but Court McGuffey winning the Harlan Hill this year.
A Rhodes Scholar nominee, 3.86 grade point average.
He's making money for Northern Colorado.
Burger King academic athlete, brought in $10,000 and could bring in more if he goes on in that process.
Well, on that last play, we missed the flag down as there was a penalty against the Bears, illegal use of hands, and the Bison accept the call, and the Bears backed up to the 41. So it's repeat of 2nd down, but it's 2nd down and 18. And McGuffey, as he often does, calling off at the line of scrimmage. Has some time. Now he's pressured. Throws it deep for Zuniga, right through his hands, incomplete. Hatley on the coverage. Pressure came from Court, and he may have had to release it a little bit early. Leif Murphy was in pressuring Court McGuffey.
1 yard overthrown. Flag on the play.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway. That's against the Bears as well.
And Leif Murphy laid a hit on Court McGuffey. McGuffey was a little slow in getting up. Here comes the hit right here. Drove him into the ground, and wide open is Omar Zuniga. Jay Hatley beaten on the play, but just a bit overthrown.
And Leif Murphy that time throwing aside the Bears left tackle, Ryan Burkholder, the junior, who is arguably one of their better offensive linemen, a 2-year starter, a big guy. And Murphy kind of undersized, doesn't he, Dana?
He only goes about 225 maybe, and the Bison coaching staff really feels like once this kid matures a little bit, because he's only 19 years old, once he puts on about 15, 20, 25 pounds, there are going to be linemen in this league that just will not be able to handle number 43.
McGuffey looks a little bit ginger right now.
He might have had the wind knocked out of him a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's walking something off right there. Well, the Bison took that penalty, and it's 2nd down and 23 now. Now under 4 minutes left to go, opening quarter. Scoreless from Nottingham Field. Winner take all, most likely. 3 on the line for North Dakota State as they are dropped back in pass coverage. McGuffey to throw again. This time it's a screen that goes nowhere. It looked like McGuffey split the difference between Daniels and the guard Ryan Tate, and good coverage from the nose guard Luke Hendrickson as well.
Had he been able to find his running back, he was going to have some green grass to run to. That was probably the perfect call going up against that defense when everybody was dropping so deep. You got 3 linemen skirting off to the side. Daniels on that screen play, he could have run for a long, long time. But the Bison, even with just 3 linemen rushing, got pressure on McGuffey, and I think he had to get rid of it a little sooner than he wanted to.
The Bears have had trouble with that all year long. Court hasn't had a whole lot of time to pick out his receivers, and that was a perfect example of not having enough time.
On 3rd and 23, it's McGuffey out of his shotgun. 3-man rush again. This time McGuffey's got all the time he needs. Dumps it off to his receiver. That's Zuniga, who breaks tackle, still on his feet. First down, UNC. What an individual effort by Omar Zuniga.
And again, the first guy to thank him is Court, because that was all Omar on that one. Court, indecision at first, didn't know where he was going to go, and finds the wide open Omar Zuniga. And as you said, Dana, big plays against North Dakota State.
He steps up here, and all of a sudden, hey, there's Omar. Gets it to him, and then he runs like a tight end here, breaking through 2 sure tacklers, Ryan Evenson and Jared Maher, and 2 more right there before he's finally brought down, but not before he picks up a first down. 6 guys have a shot at him, and it's the 5th and 6th guys who finally bring him down.
Yeah, his task wasn't done by the time he got to Schaefer, and he had to lean a little bit to get that first down. I know the Bison coaches will be disappointed by the tackling on that play, but that is a big play for Northern Colorado. Here comes Grable in motion on 1st and 10 from the 21. Another handoff, and it's Daniels who's got good room to the outside, but a good play by Courtney Samuel to make the one-on-one tackle. Still, though, a decent pickup for Wes Daniels inside the 15.
Courtney Samuel coming home this week. Said it feels good to be breathing that thin air again. He's from Aurora, Colorado, which is south of Greeley. And he has really improved his football game since probably week 4. The knock on Courtney was that he was not physical enough. And suddenly, whether it was senioritis or what, but he saw the light and he suddenly become a real physical corner, so much so that he was in the starting lineup today.
8 on the play for Daniels, second and a couple. Wes Daniels again, this time nothing much there as the middle of that Bison defense stuffs him up, and nothing doing for Wes Daniels.
Absolutely nowhere for him to go. The defense of NDSU just collapses on the whole, and Daniels had nowhere to go.
All the front 4 guys of North Dakota State put on weight in the offseason. They were so undersized last year, and it showed statistically. They had teams go for 400 yards of total offense, 500 yards of total offense. They gave up on an average 25 points a game, or 25 points a game in league play, which was, you know, Bison standards, terrible, just awful.
No real personnel changes from last year to this year, but it has been the addition of some size and some muscle for these guys.
And a lot of confidence, too.
And now one of the Bison charges across the line of scrimmage. It's the nose guard Hendrickson, but we'll see where the flag goes.
Everybody's pointing at everybody else.
And you can tell that this defense has gotten better through the stats again, as they haven't allowed a 300-yard game in the North Central Conference this year.
Offside against North Dakota State. That gives the Bears a first down. 1st and goal now from the 9.
And once again, a penalty either stops the drive for North Dakota State or keeps the drive alive for the opposing team. And Bob Babish is just at wit's end. He calls coaches all across the country, how do you control your penalties? I think he's at the point where, you know, if you just forget it, maybe it'll go away, but it certainly hasn't today.
McGuffey hands it off to the fullback Ciccarelli, who gets drilled. He got hit up high by Evenson, and it was Maher down low who got him, and those two combined after missing the stop on Zuniga. Those two drop Ciccarelli for a loss of 2.
That's just good defensive technique as they shed the blocker with their heads up and find the guy with the ball.
See, Ronnie's stepping inside. Statistically, he will not jump out at you, but on that play you saw him tie up 2 guys. So what Steffen does doesn't show up in the headlines or on the newscast, but what he does allows other people to make plays.
2nd and goal from the 11. McGuffey heading north, swings it out to his man, that's Eric Nelson, the freshman, and he gets wrapped up down at the 6-yard line, and it was Bill Ehrenberg, a backup safety, in on the coverage and the stop.
And Nelson, just a freshman, they like his speed. He's one of the fastest guys on this team, and they've got a bunch of senior wideouts on this team, and they're trying to groom some of the younger guys and get them into the mix so that next year they have some game experience and some big game experience like the guys they have out there right now, Keith Grable and Omar Zuniga.
And coming onto the field, you can see it at the right of the screen. That's Ryan Richards, 88 for the Bears, the senior out of Butte, Montana. His first action, Jim, since the first week of the season. They thought this guy was done for the year, major surgery on his knee, but he fought back and is playing and is in here on 3rd down and goal from the 6. And McGuffey takes a timeout with only 4 seconds left to go in the opening quarter, and the play clock winding down as well, and he'll come to the UNC sideline and talk it over with his coaches. So back and forth the teams go. North Dakota State has had the ball twice. This is UNC's 2nd possession, and the Bears coming close to the score here, but facing a key 3rd down and goal.
I get the feeling the teams are just trying to get the butterflies out. This is such a big football game, and both programs know it, that they're still kind of rattled a little bit. They're still not relaxed and playing the kind of football that they can. Although I'm sure Joe Glenn isn't complaining about the way his defense is playing.
There's a good look at Joe Glenn in his 11th season as the head coach here at Northern Colorado. He was a coordinator for a couple of years under Ron Simonson. And for the folks who don't know that story, he had accepted a job to be an assistant coach in the CFL. The Bears made the change and removed Simonson from the head coaching job and quickly called Joe and told him to turn around and head south from Canada, and it's been kind of magic ever since for UNC.
What a good move for Northern Colorado. You won't find a more likable coach on this side of the sidelines than Joe Glenn. Both Bob Babbage and Joe Glenn are two of the nicest football coaches in the league. And Joe's got an incredible memory. He won't see you for 12 years. You walk up on the sidelines, you go, "Hey, Dana, how you doing? Good to see you again."
After the timeout, McGuffey under center John May. 3rd down and goal from the 6. He'll pass, going to the left side of the end zone. Contact incomplete, and a flag is down. Courtney Samuel on the coverage with Omar Zuniga, and they'll call the interference against North Dakota State. Samuel not happy with that call, but it looked like there was contact there, although I don't know if that pass was going to be especially catchable.
There was some bumping going off on the line of scrimmage, and Courtney Samuel had a piece of the uniform. They were jostling for position. I just think the officials thought that Samuel was just a little aggressive that time and kind of coming through Zuniga.
Well, and the official on the backside, I mean, had the best view, probably the same view that we have here on this replay as we see the coming in, and they were close, but we can't see the contact from here.
He's already reaching for his flag, so maybe the contact happened before we even saw a picture of it there from that angle.
Now the play clock says 0 as in the end of the 1st quarter. I don't know if the officials have spotted that. We're going to run a play here with no time left on the clock. And the Bears 1st and goal from the 2. Daniels up the middle, touchdown Northern Colorado. On 1st down and goal after the Courtney Samuel pass interference, Wes Daniels easily up the middle and puts UNC on top 6-0.
Just the 3rd rushing touchdown given up by North Dakota State since week 4 when they gave one up to the University of South Dakota. There's the free play to end the quarter, and I wonder if maybe the quarter can't end on a defensive penalty.
Right, I think that's the case. So with no time left on the quarter clock, it's still the Bears running the play, and now, of course, they'll run the extra point as well. And there's a look at Wes Daniels, injured really throughout his career from time to time, but junior out of Longmont High School. Shower on for the point after. And this one is up, and it is good. So the quarter ends with the extra point. After 1 quarter of play, UNC is on top 7-0.
Hi, this is Sarah McQuitty, the Executive Director of the Greeley Convention and Visitors Bureau. Stay tuned right here with Channel 8.
UNC's broken the ice here at Nottingham Field. The Bears on their 2nd possession with a Wes Daniels 2-yard run to put the Bears on top by a score of 7-0.
I think this is the first time that North Dakota State has trailed in a football game since week 4 in the University of South Dakota when Jamel White reeled off about a 75 to 80-yard run on the first play from scrimmage. They normally produce, NDSU does, some type of points on their opening drive, but not today. This Colorado defense, you guys buffaloed a lot of people from North Dakota State. The defense was playing so poorly.
If you're a Bear fan, you're happy to see Wes Daniels doing a good job as you see the scoring summary on that one. But also the offensive line, which exploded off on that touchdown and got the advantage from NDSU right away and created a huge hole for Daniels to run through.
And a couple of key penalties in that series against North Dakota State as well. Something we've talked about that's been the bugaboo for Bob Babbage's team. So the team switched sides as the 2nd quarter gets underway. Shower to kick things off from the north end of the field. And again, kicking away from Tim Strelo, the dangerous return man. This is Eric Nelson at his 14. Sheds a couple of tackles, but then it's caught from behind. And it's Jasper Armstrong out of Eagle Crest High School in Aurora, the transfer from Colorado State University, who stops Nelson, the senior wide receiver.
Both coaches at the beginning of the game told us how important special teams would be and how this plays out at the end of the game. And both teams take pride in playing good special teams. I know UNC really takes pride in having good special teams play.
I noticed that Chuck Clabo is in at the right tackle spot for the Bison. Pete Campion has been fighting the mononucleosis, although North Dakota State rotates a lot of offensive linemen. Johnson under center. Delayed handoff to Gordon. He's got a big hole, runs right up the middle. Jamie Heiner there to meet him, but a gain of about 5 yards out to the 31-yard line for Lamar Gordon, sophomore out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fast, powerful, and a good runner.
He will be the fastest Bison to 2,000 yards in his career. He's got just a couple hundred yards to go. Already has the second best rushing total per single season in school history. Jake Morris, you guys may remember, said it a couple of years ago, 1997.
5.5 yards a carry, 19 touchdowns for Gordon. 2nd and 5. And it's a play fake. Johnson spots Strelo wide open, who gets away from his man. That's Kevin Corson. Strelo still on the run, finally caught from behind. Shad Morlock, the safety, but not until Strelo gets tackled at the 48-yard line, and now a late flag comes in. So 17 on the play, and we'll have to wait and see what the penalty call is.
I think Easton and Detman were having some words.
Well, and it looks like it's Easton who apparently said one word too many or got in there with a face mask is the call.
Tim Strelo has been just a money receiver. He started off last year and uncharacteristically had a lot of drops early in the year and really never got going. This year he just exploded. First game against Ferris State, had a long touchdown run through the air. He had a punt return, he had a kickoff return. The kid has just been amazing. And I think it all had to do with a story that Babbage told in the offseason about a guy that he knew he played football with at Tulsa that had one last year of college football, and the guy did everything he could in the offseason to prepare for his final go-round. And Strelo really took those words to heart, and it's really paid off for him in '99.
1st and goal now. North Dakota State quickly in UNC territory, and Gordon on the carry. Short of the 30, but a good gain on 1st down of about 6 yards.
You know, we talk about the emotion of this game and how both teams are very high, and you can see that. And Nolan Easton gets his emotions a little bit out of hand as he gets the personal foul on that one, and you got to control that in a big game like this, even though we get a big run out of Lamar again.
Sometimes there are good personal fouls. if they're aggressive and you don't do dumb things to hurt your football team, some coaches will take those because they know you're playing at the emotional level that you need to. But, you know, a play like this is the one that coach will say, you know, shame on you, Nolan.
Craig Tangen, the tight end, going across the line of scrimmage now. He'll be the lead blocker for Gordon, and this time not too much there for Lamar. Gang tackled at about the 29-yard line, maybe 2 on the play, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and short.
Biggest difference in Lamar Gordon from last year to this year is he put on, well, it depends on who you talk to. Every time Coach Babbage tells the story, he's gained more weight. Early in the year it was 12, and I think the last time we talked to Babbage it was up to about 20 pounds. And he got faster, too.
Pretty soon he'll be playing fullback, right?
Yes, he'll be a lineman. They'll make him a tackle.
Little confusion for Northern Colorado, and Joe Glenn's team signaling for a timeout. That is not a good timeout for the Bears to take. Confused on defense. 12:18 left to go, first half. UNC on top, 7-0.
After 27 years, the Finest has moved from our old store on 8th Avenue to the Hillside Center, 2519 11th Avenue. With plenty of parking, a new, larger store with more of everything, CDs, tapes, videos, and records. We've got the very friendly, knowledgeable service that you've come accustomed to. We're open 7 days a week. The Finest in the Hillside Center, a tradition for 27 years.
Don't you wait just a little while. For your mind. Should you press yourself? It's time for revolution. Revolution.
I'm Scott Ehrlich. At Ehrlich Motors, you don't have to wait for the new millennium to purchase any of these exciting new 2000 model year vehicles. The Nissan Xterra, the 2000 Maxima, the 4-door Frontier. How about the 2000 Eclipse or the new Lincoln LS Performance Sedan? We must start moving all 99s with discounts up to $8,000. Ehrlich Motors always has been and always will be your used vehicle headquarters. Ehrlich Motors, corner of 8th Avenue and 34 Bypass. Right on the corner and right on the price.
Third and short now after the UNC timeout. Bears down to 1 in this half. Big play for North Dakota State. One receiver out wide, 2 tight ends. Hand off to Gordon, and he plows ahead behind the right side of that offensive line and has the first down to the 26-yard line. Needed 2, got 3.5, and it's 1st and 10, NDSU.
I guarantee you, Babbage would have used 2 plays to get the first down. He, too, like Rocky Hager, has a 4th down mentality where he believes in the Rams, which is what North Dakota State calls its offensive linemen. He believes that they can get a yard or 2 yards from anywhere on the football field. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. He had a booster come up to him at a teammaker meeting the other day and told him to quit being conservative. God dang it, I want to go to Florence again. Babbage said, so do I.
Tangen in motion. May have started a little bit early as a flag goes down, and Tangen catches the pass, but no play here. Looks like he did cut upfield a little bit early. That'll be procedure against NDSU. Yeah, you know, Dana, I heard a little bit of the call-in radio show from this past Monday night, and I guess it shouldn't have surprised me, but the NDSU fans not especially shy about voicing their opinion about some things.
That's one thing about Fargo is you have people who are interested. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Granted, the Bison wouldn't want to change places with a Morningside where there's apathy and people don't care, but sometimes it can be tough where callers will call in and they don't want to give up any yards. They think you should hold an opposing team to 0.
Yeah.
Just, you know, your corners are way too off the wide receiver. Why do you give them all that short stuff? And Bob said, well, we don't want to give them the deep stuff. We want to make them earn their points.
So I'm sure if you talk to almost any coach, they would take that kind of passion that is evident in Fargo and the backing that North Dakota State has. 1st and 15 now. It's Gordon on the handoff. He was the lone setback, and not a whole lot there as the Bears bottled things up. Cologne, Markley in the middle. Got in there for the stop. 2nd down and about 12 coming up.
And we talk about the tradition that North Dakota State has, and that's something that Joe Glenn and his staff have tried to create here at Nottingham Field and in Greeley, Colorado. And with 2 national championships and everything going the Bears' way, the crowds getting bigger and bigger every home game. Slowly, the tradition is starting here at Nottingham Field as well.
Everybody loves a winner, but it also brings some burden, too. You win 2 straight national championships. Suddenly, 8-2 and almost making the playoffs is a bad year.
Yeah, the bar definitely gets raised. 2nd and 13. Bears showing blitz here. And Johnson again taking the long count, and he's going to have to call the timeout. I think UNC showed him something that he did not expect. And the Bison take a timeout. 10:37 left to go first half. Bears on top by a count of 7-0.
Hi. Hello? Is my prescription ready? Exactly what heavy machinery shouldn't I operate?
Spray or roll-on. Can you recommend a good private label ointment? Extra strength or maximum strength?
Have a health question?
Could I,
Ask a neighbor.
I need a throat lozenge!
Just make sure it's the right neighbor. Like the Long's Drugs pharmacist you've trusted for 60 years. Turn to Long's. Life celebrations don't come every day, but then Westlake Wine and Spirits is not your everyday experience. You'll make your selection in a cheerful, pleasing atmosphere. We have a deep wine selection, an extensive assortment of imports and microbrews, and plenty of experience to share. From a simple choice to entire party planning, our staff is always prepared to help, and our service doesn't stop at the door. Remember to save with our coupons. Celebrate life, but celebrate responsibly with Westlake Wine and Spirits.
Recently, we at the Colorado Lottery returned our $1 billionth to the state of Colorado. Those proceeds have been used to build thousands of state and local parks, recreation, wildlife, and public building projects, as well as helping to preserve what makes this state special: open space. From the Colorado Lottery to the people of Colorado, thanks a billion.
After another timeout, North Dakota State facing 2nd down and 13 from UNC's 29. Bears still showing blitz. And again, Johnson with the long count. Motions out to the left side to Nelson. Short drop, passes it out, intended for Strelo. Not a great pass, and the Bears had a better chance at that one than Strelo did. Martin Jones came across from the safety spot.
Once again, they're kind of trying to find them between the corner and the safety, and they just can't quite find that comfort zone on the far side of the football field.
And also in for the Bears, you see Nick Sims, number 22, a redshirt freshman out of North Glen. He was on coverage as well.
Guy who's kind of pressed into action at one time this year, really not on the picture before the season started on the 2-deep, and then Sims has actually seen some increased playing time. Still some confusion defensively for the Bears, but they get everybody on the field they want to on a 3rd down and 13. Johnson out of the shotgun. Has plenty of time. Now the pocket collapses a little bit, and now Johnson's going to have to run for it. Gets away from one man, still on his feet, but has to duck down at about the 20. That'll be short of the 1st down marker. As Ryan Johnson making that one exciting, and for a minute you thought he was going to pick it up, but finally just ran out of territory.
Heads-up play by Johnson, but credit the UNC defense on the coverage. Lots of time for Johnson, but the UNC guys in coverage just had everybody smothered.
And he had plenty of time to find somebody. At first, just basic offensive line protection. Then he scrambles and buys some more time. Right here, he decides, well, he's going to have to run it because there's just nobody open. And then he finally does a smart thing and just gets down and avoids a hit.
Aaron Peterson on for another 37-yard try. He missed one on the first series of the game. Good snap. The ball is down, and this time the kick is up and good. 9:45 left to go here in the first half. And the Bison have struck. 7-3, Northern Colorado still on top.
It really got started about 20 years ago. Jackson started as a kind of restaurant where everyone could feel comfortable. If they were just stopping in for a quick bite, staying for dinner, or celebrating that special occasion. Traditions have been born at Jackson. People have met here, teams have celebrated countless victories, and families just come to relax and enjoy the good food. Jackson's, a Denver original for over 20 years.
Do you think you're making a difference? We do. Since you started being a designated driver, or calling a cab for a friend, or serving responsibly, drunk driving fatalities are down 41%. To all who are making a difference, thank you.
It's a better place to live. It's a better place to live. Thanks to you.
The final weeks of NCC action are coming up. UNC nemesis North Dakota State invades Nottingham Field this weekend. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Pori.
And I'm UNC head coach Joe Glenn. Join us next Monday for a recap of Saturday's game with the Bison.
We'll have exclusive highlights, player interviews, and see how the UNC playoff picture comes into focus. Join us right here at Jackson's All-American Sports Grill, live Monday at 6 p.m. on Channel 8.
So North Dakota State gets on the board on its first drive here in the second quarter. 7-3 now UNC's lead. Aaron Peterson's 37-yard field goal. And Peterson on the season now 11 out of 15 as he was 1 for 2 today, missing an earlier 37-yarder. Kick bounces at the 10 away from Eric Nelson, and it goes through the end zone. UNC will take over at its own 20-yard line. Well, 9:40 left to go opening half. Gentlemen, the assessment so far, team's a little bit tight early on, but they seem to be loosening up now.
Well, I hate to remind Bison fans of this, but the offensive performance by North Dakota State reminds me of the Sioux game, where they had opportunity, they were in the red zone, they were within the 20-yard line, and they couldn't complete their drives. The missed field goal on the opening drive by Aaron Peterson. Then they settled for 3 in this last possession when Coach Babbage obviously would rather have 7 points. In that game at Grand Forks, the Bison should have been leading 21-0 at the half, but, you know, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Ended up losing 13-10 in that game. McGuffey, Prosser, the running back behind him. Court's going to pass. Steps up, dumps it out to the normally reliable Mark Ciccarelli. Pass a little bit low, but Ciccarelli usually catches what he touches. 2nd down and 10.
At Court, we talk about how smart he is off the field, but on the field, he can look through all of his choices and receivers and does it so fast and knows the coverages so well. That time he had a Ciccarelli open underneath, but just couldn't get it to him.
Well, Joe Glenn says that Court McGuffey and Kate Dalton, the offensive coordinator here at Northern Colorado, are of one mind. I mean, they think alike, and that's why Court McGuffey and the Bear offense is so productive.
Pretty good winning percentage for Bob Babbage after 3 years, or in his 3rd year. Daniels on the carry, gets it out to about the 25-yard line. This may be as hard as we've seen Wes Daniels run this season, Jim. Hadn't really been able to pick it up a whole lot this year, in and out of the lineup because of injuries, but he's had a big run earlier in this game, and that was a tough 5 yards.
Don't want to put Wes on the spot, but maybe running a little scared after seeing the success that Kevin Prosser has had at running back.
Competition, not a bad thing.
Well, raises the level of play for everybody. You don't want to lose your job.
3rd down and 5 now. Clock at 9 minutes to go, opening half. Bears on top, 7-3. Back split behind McGuffey, 4-man rush. Court's got time, goes deep. Kevin Prosser wide open, had to wait for that football, but he is gone off to the races. 75 yards on that play. Court McGuffey to Kevin Prosser, and the Bears on top, 13-3.
You know, us guys in the booth are always talking about controlling the football, but from UNC's perspective, if you can put points on the board, do it. And they do it there as Kevin Prosser is wide open. Even has to come back for the Court McGuffey pass. But this is a huge momentum builder for UNC.
You lose one guy in that secondary, I guarantee you Court McGuffey will find him. He's got that innate ability to see the entire field and probably see it a little slower than he should. Somebody in that Bison secondary blew a coverage. There's no reason Prosser should have been that wide open. McGuffey did the same thing last year in the Fargo Dome. The Bison field, they played pretty well, except for 2 plays. Boom, 2 plays. McGuffey found wide open receivers.
McGuffey holds for Showers' point after. That one's up and good. 8:46 left to go first half. Bears on top, 14-3. So UNC answers right back after the Aaron Peterson field goal, and they do it on a big play, a home run play, if you will, and that's the kind of play that Joe Glenn and his team was especially cautious about being done by North Dakota State. Instead, it's UNC with that first big home run today.
Oh yeah, and UNC has lived and died by the big play. Sometimes they have to have big plays to win. This early in the contest, you just enjoy having them.
And last year and early this year, the Bison defense died by the big play. I mean, they could always control an offense for a certain amount of time, and all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3 plays here, somebody would break open a huge play, and it's exactly what McGuffey and Prosser do right here, wide open. That's the toughest pass to throw and the toughest pass to catch in college football. When you're so wide open, you have time to think about it.
Kevin Prosser, Gateway High School, the same high school that Courtney Samuel is from, transferred from Northeast Oklahoma Junior College. Hadn't played much this year because he was having problems picking up this intricate UNC offense, and he really was not in the picture. In fact, maybe he was 4th in the depth chart among running backs, but lately he has stepped up and has earned a lot of the playing time along with Wes Daniels. For Prosser, KP as they call him, that is his 4th catch on the season. Shower kicks it off again, avoiding Strelo. Nelson inside his 10. Starts right, now cuts up the middle. Nelson on a good run, caught from behind by Chris Coble across the 30 as a flag flies in. And usually that's not good news for the returning team, but we'll have to wait and see what this call is.
Normally it's a hold or a block in the back or something. So pretty good field position will be reduced to okay field position or even poor field position by North Dakota State.
Just took 3 plays and you put your defense right back onto the field, but at this point the points are well needed.
So Ryan Johnson, who has had some success today, a couple of passes I think have gotten away from him, but mostly he's looked pretty cool and collected in the pocket, leading the offense for North Dakota State back on the field, back to the 20-yard line now, where the Bison take over 1st down and 20. Bears creeping up on that line of scrimmage. Johnson fakes, now will pitch it out to Gordon, who's got a seal block. Gordon gets by Martin Jones' tackle, but then gets shoved out of bounds